EPK Capital presents Deep Dive for Hindustan Zinc. Hey there, future billionaires and curious investors. Ever stare at your phone wondering which stock will finally buy you that yacht or at least a really fancy rubber duck? Well, today we're diving deep into a stock that's often overlooked but might just be shiny enough to catch your eye: Hindustan Zinc. Now, before you click away thinking, zinc, that's what's in my multivitamin, stick with me. We're going to peel back the layers of this metal giant, see if it's a hidden gem or just another pretty rock. Get ready for some financial fun, a dash of wit, and absolutely no financial advice because let's be real, I'm just a guy on the internet. The company and its promoters, who are these guys? Alright, so who is Hindustan Zinc? In simple terms, they're India's largest and the world's second largest integrated zinc producer. Think of them as the unsung heroes making sure your car doesn't rust into oblivion and your smartphone battery actually works. They're big on zinc, lead, and silver. Basically, if it's shiny and dug out of the ground, they probably have something to do with it. And who's pulling the strings behind this metallic empire? We're talking about the Vedanta Group. Yes, that Vedanta Group, helmed by the illustrious Anil Agarwal. They acquired a majority stake way back in 2002. So, for over 2 decades, Vedanta has been the principal promoter, guiding Hindustan Zinc's journey. It's like having a seasoned captain steering a very, very profitable mining ship. A brief history: from its humble beginnings as a public sector undertaking in 1966, it's transformed into a global player under Vedanta's stewardship. Talk about a glow up. 10-year financial analysis, the nitty gritty numbers. Now let's get to the juicy part, the numbers. Because while stories are fun, cold, hard data is what separates the dreamers from the investors. We're going to zoom out and look at Hindustan Zinc's performance over the last decade. Think of it as their financial report card, but with less red ink. First up, revenue growth. Has this company been raking in more cash year after year? We'll check if their top line has been consistently climbing, showing expanding sales and market reach. Then, the all-important profit growth. Because what's revenue without profit, right? And we want to see if they're not just selling more, but also keeping more of that money as profit. Are their earnings per share making us happy? Next, debt levels. Is Hindustan Zinc swimming in debt, or are they financially fit? A healthy company usually keeps its debt in check. Too much debt can be a red flag, like someone buying a private jet on a credit card. And finally, profitability, margins. This tells us how efficient they are at turning sales into profit. Are they running a tight ship or letting money slip through their fingers like a leaky sieve? We'll be looking at things like EBITDA margins, net profit margins, basically how much bang they're getting for their buck. If these numbers have been consistently strong over the past 10 years, that's a good sign. If they're all over the place like a toddler on a sugar rush, well, then we might have some questions. Stock chart, technical analysis. What does the squiggly line say? Alright, enough with the balance sheets. Let's look at the squiggly line that truly matters to many of us, the stock price chart. We're talking technical analysis, folks, where we try to predict the future by staring intensely at the past. It's like reading tea leaves, but with more numbers and less actual tea. We'll pull up the long-term chart for Hindustan Zinc. What does it show? Has it been a steady climb, a roller coaster ride, or a flat line that would make a doctor nervous? We'll identify key support levels. Price is where the stock historically finds buyers and bounces back up like a trampoline. And resistance levels, prices where it tends to hit a ceiling and struggle to go higher, like trying to jump over a really tall fence. We'll also glance at indicators like the Relative Strength Index, RSI. Is the stock looking overbought, meaning it might be due for a pullback, or oversold, suggesting a potential rebound? Remember, technical analysis is more art than science, and past performance is no guarantee of future results, unless you're a time traveler, in which case Hit me up, I have some questions. Benjamin Graham Valuation, is it a bargain or a bust? Now for the wisdom of the father of value investing himself, Benjamin Graham. For those who aren't familiar, Graham was basically Warren Buffett's mentor, and his approach is all about buying stocks for less than they're worth, like finding a Rolex for the price of a Timex. So, using some of Graham's principles, let's try to figure out if Hindustan Zinc is currently undervalued, fairly valued, or, gasp, overvalued. We'll crunch a few simple numbers, looking at things like its current earnings, book value, and dividend yield, and compare them to some of Graham's criteria for a defensive or enterprising investor. Is the PE ratio too high? Is it trading below its intrinsic value? We won't get too deep into complex formulas, but enough to give us a Graham-esque gut feeling. Is it a hidden treasure waiting to be unearthed? Or is the market already fully aware of its sparkle? This isn't about precise numbers, but about getting a general sense of whether we're getting a good deal or potentially overpaying. Because as Graham would say, the intelligent investor is a realist who sells to optimists and buys from pessimists. So, are we buying from pessimists right now? Pros versus cons, the bull and bear cases. Every coin has two sides, and every stock has its optimists, the bulls, and its pessimists, the bears. Let's weigh the good against the potentially not so good for Hindustan Zinc. The bull case, why it's awesome. Dominant market position, they're a giant in their field in India and globally. It's hard to dislodge a leader, strong cash flows, and dividends. Historically, they've been a consistent dividend payer, which is like getting a little thank you note in your bank account every few months. Diversified portfolio, zinc, lead, silver. They're not putting all their metallic eggs in one basket. Leverage to commodity prices. If global zinc prices go up, Hindustan Zinc's profits tend to go up too. The bear case, why you might want to be cautious. Commodity price volatility. The flip side, if zinc prices crash, their earnings will take a hit. It's a cyclical business. Promoter group influence, Vedanta. While strong, sometimes decisions at the promoter level can impact the subsidiary. Think corporate governance questions that occasionally pop up. Environmental concerns. Mining operations always carry environmental risks and regulatory scrutiny. Potential for delisting, restructuring. There have been discussions and proposals in the past about restructuring, which can create uncertainty for minority shareholders. Important checks, digging a little deeper. Before we wrap this up, let's do a couple of quick but crucial checks, because sometimes the devil is in the details, or in this case, potentially in the financial footnotes. First, scandals or controversies. Has Hindustan Zinc or its parent Vedanta been embroiled in any major scandals, legal battles, or environmental controversies that could impact its reputation or operations? We'll do a quick scan to see if there are any skeletons in the closet that could come back to haunt investors. A clean record is always a plus, right? Second, global market position. We mentioned they're the world's second largest integrated zinc producer. That's a huge deal. It means they have economies of scale, global reach, and a significant say in the market. Understanding their competitive landscape and how they stack up against international rivals gives us a better picture of their long-term sustainability. Are they just big in India or a true global powerhouse? Conclusion, the verdict. Alright folks, we've journeyed through the minds of Hindustan Zinc, sifted through its financials, stared intensely at its stock chart, and pondered the wisdom of Benjamin Graham. So what's the final word? Well, as always, I'm not here to tell you whether to buy, sell, or hold. That decision is entirely yours, and you should always do your own thorough research. What we've seen is a company with a strong market position, a history of profitability, and a prominent promoter group. However, like any commodity-driven business, it's exposed to the whims of global prices and has had its share of corporate governance discussions in the past. Is Hindustan Zinc a shiny opportunity waiting for you? Or is it a heavy metal that might weigh down your portfolio? That, my friends, is the $1,000,000 question, or perhaps the multi-billion rupee question. Your homework now is to take this information, combine it with your own risk tolerance and investment goals, and make an informed decision. Happy investing, and may your portfolio be evergreen. And now for the important stuff. Please remember, this video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. Investing in the stock market involves risk and you could lose money. Always consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. Do your own due diligence.